G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. I'd like to raise a drink to Dave's Act down in the Australian Capital Territory, driving around Canberra with his Minimalist SunFoil on the roof. The reason for the celebration is because Dave's Act's Minimalist SunFoil appears to be doing great things for the Ford Explorer. V6 petrol engine, four-wheel drive, and it's interesting to compare his SunFoil with the one on my son's Brumby, which was also a 20-watt solar panel, because the Brumby was half the weight, had half the size engine, had half the alternator's step-up ratio, and probably a battery half the rated capacity. And 20 watts on a Brumby saved 4.2 litres a week, so it's going to be interesting to see when Dave's fuel burn stops improving. Cheers, Dave. Now, let me see if I've got your figures right. Okay, as transcribed from the threads and a couple of personal messages. 20th of June, add 34.5 litres of 95 octane, having travelled 195.8 kilometres, 5.67 kilometres to the litre, and that's your normal driving around Canberra. 3 days later, add 35.24 litres of 95 octane, having driven 212 kilometres, 6.01 kilometres to the litre. Now there was a long trip to visit the trail camera on the Murrumbidgee River and see what the wombats had been up to, or this improvement in the orange there, of 5.99% over the baseline. That could just be what they call placebo-effect, Dave. Maybe the fact that you had ordered the parts for your SunFoil on eBay and the fact that you knew you had to get really good accurate fuel burn figures caused you to drive just that little bit more gently, but you got nearly a 5% improvement just by knowing that you'd ordered the parts for your SunFoil. I think that's pretty cool. Then the 27th of June, add 36 litres of 95 octane, having travelled 234.6 kilometres, which is 6.525 kilometres to the litre, and the SunFoil went on about halfway into that tank of fuel, which shows up there. SunFoil gets fitted, and during that tank of fuel we get an 8.56% improvement on top of the previous 5.99% improvement. So Dave, by that point you were 14.5% in front since ordering the parts for the SunFoil. Yahoo, yippee, we're doing well. However, just as we encountered the placebo-effect, we encountered the nocibo-effect halfway through the next tank of fuel, when the family rev head noticed the extra torque available and began boy racer syndrome. This brought your fuel consumption down to 5.76 kilometres to the litre, which is still 1.5% better than it was back before you ordered the SunFoil. So you had a 14.5% improvement in fuel consumption. The boy racer started using 13% more torque, and you're still saving 1.5% of your fuel. That's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. Good kid. Yahoo, yippee. Yeah, Warbles on a lot is pleased. Now the same day you realised the boy racer was at work, you filled up with 91 octane, 10% biofuel, ethanol. And that stuff's fairly notorious for being not as energy dense as petroleum-based pure petrol is. So I was prepared for a bad fuel figure, but 5.95 kilometres to the litre running on biofuel, which shows up on the graph in green. So if we take the biofuel extrapolation and move that up to where it would be without the boy racer effect, we can also illustrate what it would be if you were running on pure petroleum, up around the 7 kilometres to the litre. When my son connected the Mark II, his fuel burn in Glen Innes continued to improve until September. So we're talking July, August, end of September, 3 months. And as for boy racer effect, Here is the effect of driving fast around Glen Innes. Set off for Tamworth, nearly hit a kangaroo and frightened himself, slowed right down, drove around Tamworth using slightly more fuel than he used to, and then when he set off for home, boy, racer effect kicked in compared to his previous trips up the hill. Meanwhile, I could be 26.3% hybrid at 100 kilometres per hour, but I'm only 24% hybrid